The storm wasn't meant to be dangerous, just another snowy night in a small forgotten town where nothing unusual ever happened. But for 7-year-old Emma, that night would change everything. It started with a sound, a weak, trembling cry outside her front porch. At first, she thought it was the wind pushing through the trees. The storm was fierce, snow spinning endlessly through the darkness like the world itself was disappearing. But then she heard it again. Soft, fragile, desperate. Emma slowly opened the door and froze. 2 tiny puppies lay curled together beside the steps, barely moving. Their fur was stiff with ice. Snow covered their small bodies, and their faint whimpers were almost swallowed by the roaring wind. Without hesitation, Emma rushed forward. "Oh no, you're freezing," she whispered. She gathered them carefully into her arms, feeling how cold they were. Far too cold. "Don't worry," she said softly. "I'll take care of you." She didn't know it yet, but rescuing those puppies would trigger something far bigger than kindness, because before sunrise, armed police officers would surround her house, and everyone would want those dogs back. Before we continue, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more emotional true-style stories. And tell me something, where are you watching from today? I always love seeing how far these stories travel. The blizzard worsened as Emma hurried inside. Snow slammed against windows while icy wind screamed through the neighborhood. Most families stayed near fireplaces waiting for morning. But Emma moved quietly through the hallway, hiding her unexpected rescue. Warm air wrapped around her instantly. One puppy stirred weakly inside her jacket. "You're safe now," she whispered. She rushed into her bedroom and gently placed them onto her bed. Both puppies trembled violently, too exhausted even to bark. Emma grabbed towels, drying their soaked fur with careful hands. She wrapped them inside her thick blanket, tucking it around them like her mother used to tuck her in. Slowly, their shaking began to stop. One puppy sighed. A tiny sound, but filled with relief. Emma smiled through watery eyes. "No one should be alone in a storm," she murmured. Outside, snow buried the town deeper in silence. Inside, the puppies finally slept. But safety came with a secret Emma couldn't yet see. Hours passed. The storm continued raging while Emma sat beside them, watching protectively. That's when she noticed it. A collar. Thin, dark, unusually heavy for such young puppies. Curious, she lifted one gently. Attached to the collar hung a metal tag, scratched and worn. But it didn't show a name. No phone number. Only a strange engraved symbol. Sharp lines forming a mark she didn't recognize. Emma frowned. That's weird. The moment her fingers touched the tag, both puppies snapped awake. At the exact same time, their ears lifted. Bodies stiff, eyes locked toward the window. Emma felt chills crawl up her spine. They weren't scared. They were alert. Listening. Guarding. Like trained dogs. But they were just babies. Right? Later that night, the storm suddenly quieted, and the silence felt worse. Emma lay in bed when a beam of light swept across her curtains. Slow. Searching. Her breath caught. That wasn't lightning. Outside, someone was walking through the snow. The puppies growled instantly. Low, controlled, protective. Emma peeked through the curtain. A man stood near the trees holding a flashlight. Another shadow moved behind him. They weren't passing by. They were tracking something, heading straight toward her house. Emma backed away, heart racing. The puppies positioned themselves in front of her door, ready, waiting, as if they already knew danger was coming. Morning finally arrived. But peace didn't. Sirens shattered the silence. Red and blue lights flooded the snowy street. Police cars stopped outside her home. Fast, urgent, weapons ready. Emma's stomach dropped. A loud knock echoed through the house. Police, open the door. Her hands trembled as she opened it slightly. 3 officers stared down, shocked. "You're alone?" one asked gently. Emma nodded, clutching the puppies tighter. The moment officers saw them, everything changed. Recognition flashed across their faces. "It's them," one officer whispered. Emma blinked. What do you mean? The officer knelt carefully. Sweetheart, where did you find these dogs? Near the forest cabin, she answered. Radios crackled instantly. Confirmed. Units recovered. Recovered? Emma's heart pounded. They're just puppies. The officer sighed. No, he said quietly. They're part of an ongoing investigation. Moments later, the truth began unfolding. Criminal groups had stolen highly trained canine puppies from a secure facility. Dogs bred for intelligence, protection, and advanced police work. The men Emma saw during the night, they weren't rescuers. They were trying to take them back. And they were already close. Too close. A sudden crash outside interrupted everything. Officers reached for their weapons. They're here, someone said. Fear flooded Emma's chest. An officer turned urgently toward her. Take the puppies and hide, now. Emma ran down the hallway, squeezing into a closet as heavy footsteps approached the house. Voices shouted. Glass shattered. Chaos exploded. She hugged the puppies tightly until suddenly they pulled away. No longer afraid. They moved toward the door in perfect coordination, like trained protectors. The closet opened slightly. A criminal stepped into view, and before Emma could react, the puppies launched forward. Fast, precise, fearless. The man shouted as officers rushed in. Within seconds, everything changed. Police regained control. Backup arrived. And the danger finally ended. When silence returned, an officer sat beside Emma. Those puppies weren't ordinary animals. They were elite canine candidates, chosen from birth for intelligence and loyalty. The room fell completely silent. Only the faint crackling of the fireplace and the distant sound of police radios filled the air. Lily sat frozen on the couch, her arms wrapped tightly around the two puppies as if letting go, even for a second, might make them disappear forever. The bearded officer looked down at her, clearly struggling with something. Protocol said one thing, but what they had just witnessed said another. He exchanged a long glance with the woman officer standing beside him. Years of training told them rules existed for a reason, yet moments like this didn't fit neatly inside rules. These puppies, he finally said carefully, were trained to trust handlers chosen for them. Lily wiped her tears. But they chose me, she whispered. Neither officer corrected her, because deep down, she was right. The smaller puppy lifted its head and gently placed its paw on Lily's arm, its dark eyes watching her with unmistakable attachment. The second pup leaned against her chest, calm for the first time since the chaos began. The bond was undeniable. The woman officer knelt beside Lily again, her voice softer now. Sometimes, she said quietly, dogs decide who their partner is before anyone else does. Lily looked up hopefully. So they can stay? The officers hesitated. Outside, additional patrol vehicles pulled away as the last suspects were transported into custody. Snow drifted peacefully across the yard, hiding the footprints of the night's violence. The danger was over, but the decision ahead felt just as heavy. The smallest officer stepped forward holding his radio. Headquarters wants confirmation, he said. They're asking if the K9 units are ready for transport. The words hit Lily like ice water. Her grip tightened instantly. No, she whispered. The puppies reacted immediately, sensing her fear. Both pressed closer, small whines escaping their throats. The bearded officer watched carefully. He had worked with police dogs for nearly 15 years. He knew forced separation could break trust, especially this early. He exhaled slowly. There may be another option. All eyes turned toward him. If these pups have already formed a primary attachment, he continued, removing them immediately could damage their behavioral development. The woman officer raised an eyebrow. You're suggesting temporary placement? He nodded. Supervised, hope flickered across Lily's face. You mean they could stay? The officer smiled faintly. For now. Lily gasped softly, hugging the puppies as relief flooded through her entire body. But the decision wasn't simple. He pressed the radio button. "Command, this is Officer Grant," he said firmly. "Requesting evaluation delay. Puppies located safe. Possible civilian bonding situation affecting training outcome," Static answered. Seconds felt like hours. Lily barely breathed. Finally, the radio crackled back to life. "Request acknowledged. Temporary hold approved pending assessment." The officer lowered the radio slowly. "They're not taking them today." Tears streamed down Lily's cheeks, but this time they were tears of pure relief. The puppies wagged their tiny tails, licking her hands as if celebrating without fully understanding why. For the first time since the storm began, everything felt safe. But later that evening, another realization settled over the officers. These weren't ordinary rescue animals. During the incident, both puppies had reacted with precision far beyond their age. Coordinated. Defense movements, threat targeting, protective positioning. Instincts usually seen after months of professional training. And yet, they had chosen to protect a child. The woman officer watched Lily playing gently with them on the living room floor. "You know," she murmured, "some partnerships aren't assigned." Officer Grant nodded. "They're earned." Outside, snowflakes drifted slowly beneath the streetlights. Inside, two future K9 heroes curled beside the girl who had saved them from freezing in the storm. Not because she was trained. Not because she was strong. But because she showed kindness when no one else did. And sometimes, that's exactly what heroes recognize. First, Lily thought she had rescued two helpless puppies that night. But in truth, she had found protectors, partners, and perhaps the beginning of something far bigger than anyone expected. Because years later, those same puppies would become legendary police dogs, and their first recorded act of bravery was saving the little girl who saved them first. The months passed slowly. Every visit to the police station reminded Lily of those first frozen nights and the warmth of the tiny puppies now, growing into strong, disciplined canines, yet the bond they had formed never wavered. Every wag, every excited bark, every soft nuzzle reminded her they had chosen her just as she had chosen them. Officer Grant observed quietly from the corner. He had seen countless dogs trained, separated, and assigned. But never had he seen this kind of attachment, pure, mutual, and unbreakable. One crisp autumn morning, the call came. A bank robbery in progress. Hostages inside, time ticking. Lives hanging by a thread. Lily's heart pounded as she followed the officers to the scene. She watched from a distance as the K9s, now sleek and powerful, readied themselves. Then something incredible happened. Instead of running to the handlers, the dogs bolted toward Lily. They had remembered. They had never forgotten. Lily knelt on the sidewalk, arms wide, and the two dogs leapt into her embrace. It was as if they were telling her, "We're ready, together." The officers exchanged stunned looks. You can't," one whispered. Officer Grant shook his head with a small smile. "They're not just police dogs. They're family." In the chaos that followed, the dogs moved with unmatched precision. They navigated the building, protected hostages, and even alerted officers to hidden threats no human eye could detect. Every step, every decision, reflected not only training, but the bond they had forged with the little girl, who had shown them kindness. Minutes felt like hours. Every heartbeat echoed in Lily's chest. Then it was over. The robbers were apprehended, every hostage safe, and as the crowd erupted in relief, Lily knelt beside the two dogs, now panting and covered in dirt and sweat, their eyes shining with loyalty and love. Tears streamed down her face. She whispered, "You were with me from the very beginning, and you never left." Officer Grant approached. "I've been doing this job for 15 years, he said quietly, "and I've never seen anything like this. You didn't just save these dogs. They saved lives today because of you." The sun dipped low, casting a golden glow across the street. The dogs rested their heads on Lily's lap, calm and proud, heroes in every sense. And in that moment, Lily realized the truth. Sometimes bravery isn't measured in medals or ranks. Sometimes it's measured in love, trust, and the courage to care for someone or something when no one else will. The story of Lily and the two police dogs spread across the city and beyond. People were inspired by their bond, moved by their heroism, and reminded that true heroes don't always wear uniforms. They have hearts that refuse to give up on each other. And long after the headlines faded, the memory of that snowy night, the small paws that had chosen her, and the courage that grew from kindness would never be forgotten, because some bonds are made to last forever.